difficult situations. The translation of Maputo Protocol into the languages spoken by our mothers and children must be considered so the proper understanding and application is achieved to help them manage their affairs in the society.
As right groups use this convergence to propagate the advancement of human rights, Dr. Hamad Salah of the African Union urged them to provide African solutions to African problems.
Many African thinkers, and I'm sure you are among them, came to understand the need for homegrown solutions for the African problems. And this is now what we are calling for at the political level within the African Union Commission. That we should always try to look into African solutions for the African problems we are facing. And if you don't do so, then the suffering will continue, the pain will continue, and more conflicts will erupt.
Recommendations and resolutions that emanate from sessions will be forwarded to the African Commission for consideration during the 54th Ordinary Session set to commence here in Banjul. Meanwhile, celebrations marking the 10th anniversary of the AU Protocol on the Rights of Women are also ongoing. Rohi Bitey, GRTS News.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we come back, we'll take a look at news from outside the Gambia. Stay tuned. Welcome back. They were supposed to be securing Westgate Mall after last month's terror attack in Nairobi in Kenya. But instead, some soldiers are now accused of taking the opportunity to steal items from stalls. CNN's Nick Robertson has more on a newly leaked video that is raising a lot of questions.
Westgate Mall, Kenyan Army soldiers stride through the Nakamat department store. Close to where one victim was shot to death hours earlier, one, then another soldier peels away to pick up objects from displays. Impossible to see what they've taken, but this video, leaked by Kenya's police, is fueling allegations by shopkeepers of army looting.
We don't know what he's picking up. He's picking up something. Yeah, there is something I can see many of them have picked up here on the video, but that's our customer service counter, so I cannot physically say what it was.
Atul Shah is the boss of Nakamat, says there was more than $16 million worth of goods there, but he can't say for sure there was looting because his store burned shortly after this video was recorded.
No, we cannot say that because everything inside our store is burnt. We cannot account for what was there, what is burnt, what is looted. So I cannot specifically say there was anything looted.
But the video still has him asking questions. In particular, this soldier who enters a money exchange booth.
And this soldier's now going inside the money exchange booth. What was kept below the shelf where he's looking right now?
There must be the tray, although this doesn't, it's outsourced.
Yeah.
Must be some trays and some paperwork and other things.
Cash?
Cash, of course. Of course, it's a cash business that they do.
Yeah, yeah. The soldier can be seen rummaging on the shelves. When he emerges, he is looking around.
And then when he comes out, he seems to put something in his pocket.
Something. Now, whether that's something that he's removing, putting, we cannot tell.
Again, the video is inconclusive, but it's what Shah saw himself when he was allowed back in that has him most concerned.
When I went in, they were actually opened. The couple of tins which were saved from the fire, you could see they had been forcefully opened, the cash tray.
So somebody had actually been in and opened the till up, taken money?
That's assumed because they were opened by force.
And no money found inside. So far, he says, the army has told him nothing of what happened in his store. More than a week before this video was released, Kenya's Ministry of Defense issued a statement rebutting the allegations of looting, saying that securing the Westgate Mall here was a joint operation and that the army has a long history of outstanding performance. But they did say they would get to the bottom of the allegations and have urged members of the public with evidence to come forward. Maybe this video, already in police hands, is just what they are looking for. Nick Robertson, CNN, Nairobi, Kenya.
Firefighters tackling massive bushfire in southeastern Australia are preparing for the worst as dangerously hot weather sets in. As one high-ranking official puts it on Wednesday, fire conditions could be as bad as it gets. Officials in the states of New South Wales fear lives could be at stake. They are warning people to steer clear of the Blue Mountains. A string of wildfire is already 1,600 kilometers long, stretching from south coast of Brisbane to east of Canberra. The worst are yet to the west of Sydney. CNN's Robin Connor is in one of the worst affected areas.
Tell us that within 50 minutes, more than 40 of these homes on this one street were up in flames, engulfed by these Australian wildfires. And these are the kinds of scenes across this street, houses razed to the ground, scenes that authorities don't want to be repeated across this region. But there are concerns that these fires could spread because temperatures and heavier winds are forecast for Wednesday. So authorities have issued warnings. They've closed schools. They've told people if they need to evacuate, they need to do it now because there's perfect conditions for wildfires are set to make this area very, very dangerous, particularly on Wednesday. So what are the firefighters doing to try and stop the fires getting to urban areas like this? Well, we've seen them backburning, trying to get ahead of these fires, trying to contain them. Because, of course, remember, many of these fires are still raging out of control. Authorities here saying that they're hoping for the best, but expecting the worst, preparing everybody for what, as they say, are some of the worst fires in the history of New South Wales. Robin Kono, CNN, Australia.
It was a very close call after two jumbo jets over Scottish airspace narrowly avoided mid-air accident. More information is emerging about the planes, which have to act quickly to avoid a collision. The problem appears to be a serious case of miscommunication. CNN's aviation correspondent Rani Marsh reports.
Scotland, two 747 jumbo jets carrying up to 1,000 passengers are on a path to collide. And British investigators say it's because the pilots didn't follow the instructions from air traffic control.
This is very hard to explain because it appears that two airplanes with two pilots in each airplane, everybody got it wrong initially.
The problem started when one plane, Jet 2, asked the control tower for clearance to climb in altitude. It was cleared, but that put it at the same altitude as another plane, Jet 1. The two planes were now on a converging path and moving closer by the second. The controller, realizing that, stepped in to prevent a collision.
He gave instructions to the pilot on the right to go to the right and on the left to go to the left. The conclusion of the British investigators was that each pilot did what the other pilot was instructed to do, and the planes turned toward each other.
At their closest point, the two planes were about 3 miles apart horizontally and 100 feet vertically. That's under the minimum separation requirement.
We have several layers of protection, and we got down to some of the last ones here. The pilot saw the other airplane and said so, and the collision avoidance system activated properly.
The plane's automatic alarms alerted the pilots, and they corrected their paths. Former FAA accident investigator Stephen Wallace says it's rare 4 pilots get the instructions so wrong. But the safety nets kicked in, and that, he says, should give comfort to airline passengers. He adds there hasn't been a collision between U.S. airliners since 1978. Investigators, they remain.
Time now to join the Central Focused Office for today's weather outlook.
The source assures us of a continuous flow And from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed.